Hello and welcome once again to Big Bean's Garage, where I go outside today, if you can believe that. Today, instead of working on this brick, I'm going to go work on the parts brick for this brick, because the parts brick is just overgrown enough in my yard. I can get a nice clickbaity thumbnail picture for the Will It Run YouTube video. People seem to like those these days. I also don't feel like cuddling with the fire ants, pulling the thing apart. So I'm going to see if I can run it, so I don't have to push it. I'm way too lazy to do that. Anyways, let's go look at it.
Oh, there it is. She's holding on to my tree for me. So nice. Adding to my audio struggles of the highway and others is little man here giving his opinions of everything. So this video is going to sound like ass. I'm accepting that now. I do apologize. Starting with what it's called, there would have been a 760 GLE badge. We can see Gerbo Diesel is still here. 7 representing 700 series cars, 6 representing the number of cylinders, and 0, excuse me, tree, in here. Fresh, minus the foliage. Only done 125,000 miles. Don't know how original that is. The rest looks pretty bad. There's a spare hatch for a wagon. Don't know why. That's not where the center console belongs. But everything else is pretty complete. Even has the original head unit there. That's pretty. Lots of evidence of critters, mice and otherwise. Idle used to be in there, as far as I know. I found little bits and pieces of it, so this will have a Vermont plate on it if it ever goes back on the road. Factory boost gauge, as well as a charging whirler meter over there. Now I know there's a lot of sinfulness down in the floor, but we'll get to that later when I can park it not where all the fire ants are. Let's see what's in the back of the brick. Ah, shy are we? So I have peeled up the carpet a bit and it is pretty shot underneath, but I see new exhaust pieces. I see a fan shroud. I know that's absent up there. A receiver dryer for some reason. What is this? Is this the airbox? It is the airbox. Nothing very impressive, except I did notice that all these exhaust pieces are OEM Volvo somehow. I'm sure we'll put those to use at some point. There's a hitch in there as well. We'll use that when this is a tow rig later. And moving right along to the important bits. The Gerbo Diesel itself. Pretty complete and original actually, minus that airbox and the fan shroud. Not sure what happened to that. One thing I did notice is on the injection pump we could still see a lot of the torque stripe markings, as well as the block actually still being green and not just covered in grime. So that's promising. One thing I was also aware of is this transmission cooler line that done popped off. I would like it to move, so I'm gonna have to do something about that. There's also no juices in it, except oil. I think there's oil. The rest of the juices are empty. Anyways, first order of business, we'll pop this off to see if there is a timing belt. I know it's not locked up, but we'll eyeball the timing just to make sure it has a hope of running. Alright, so I spun that around twice, so I'm convinced the timing's good enough. The marks are just hard to see, so I'm not going to bother. I'm convinced enough it ran when it was parked. Anyways, despite being 97% mechanical, there are a few things that need electrons running through them for these to run. I'm going to start by throwing in a fresher electron cube there and just give the key a twist and see what happens. I'm pretty sure that's the red one. How do I taste, buddy? I don't smell anything on fire yet. It's probably fine then. There's a key in it, at least. Thanks, friend. All right, caution, kitty. Well, it does that pretty slowly though. All right, now in checking for some volts here at the shutoff solenoid, I found none. So I figured I'd just go ahead and bodge together the other 2 wires that the engine needs to run, which resulted in this lovely up-to-code piece. All I did was borrow some volts from the hot lead to the glow plug relay right there and ran it over here, one for the shutoff solenoid and one for the starter, which runs right across the top of the engine, down draped across the hot section of the turbo so it'll melt into the starter. Now you'll see all of my screws are kind of pointing off in random directions, so you can tell this is up to code. Not sure what code, but it may or may not melt. I also found a beefier switch for that one. Anyways, that covers the electrons dancing around. Now we got to see if there is any fuel in this here pump. They do not like to be turned over dry, so don't do that. Now I will take the return hose off of the pump, stick my little hand suction gun onto the return line, and just suck some juice through. Also probably throw a gallon or 2 in the tank back there for good measure. Hopefully we don't have to resort to the old kosher dill fuel cell there. Anyways, let's suck on that. And there we go. Now we got juice in the jar, so we know there's fuel all filled up in the pump and ready to give a twist on it, see if it'll go. Oh, and almost forgot about this. That probably would have made a mess had it started. You see that's just a AN-4-ish looks like, and the B-nut somehow fell off. I think I'll just give that a and see if a hose clamp will hold it on. Alright, so now the battery has returned. The cooler line is bodged over there. Hopefully that'll hold. So now I'm going to take and crack each of the injector lines at the injector and crank it and see if there's any fuel left off here. We'll call it 5. That one will catch up eventually. So let us turn the juice on. You can hear a teeny tiny little click. That's that solenoid when I flip that switch. Cool. Appear to have a dead something. Let me give that starter a few whacks. Well, I don't think there's any getting around the dead spot on that starter's commutator, so I think I'm going to take this excuse to clean up all the grass around the car, because I'm going to have to go under there and change that starter. I think I have a good spare. We'll find out. Now here we can see this corner would have had to come off the ground anyway on the count of this tire not having any wind in it. You can see the bead right here. This gap is indeed big enough for air molecules to escape. So you can see how they have done that. Oh, very nearly made some unwelcome friends here. Brake clean works really well for this, even more so if you have a source of flame. Good night. Oh, okay, so the good starter I thought I had was no better. It just clunked along like this one. So now it's here in the vise, and just gonna see what I can do. Oof, that's quite a lot of brush dust. I'm guessing I know what happened. Oof. Yeah, these brushes are just plumb worn out. I don't know why only the pair of them is, but yeah, that ain't going to be making any good contact. Furthermore, I see these brush holders are bent because of this, I don't know, non-metallic material here that's supposed to be the insulator. And it looks like they've bowed out backwards and have started to contact the inside of the cap there. So that's no good either. See if I can come up with an insulator. Yeah, but since I'm a hack, I'm going to see if I can fix it with a zip tie first. I think if I just got a little more tension on these brushes, I might get like 6 or 7 more starts out of it, and that's all I really need. Now this is a mil-spec zip tie, so maybe it'll take the heat. I have no clue. Good news! That didn't work at all, but I found the spare starter that is a good starter, so I'm gonna go put this in instead. Okay, finally, crankage. So we're back to seeing if we got fuel up here, so we'll turn some fuel on. Yep, see it squirting there. Alright, I'm gonna add some green juice before I really try to start it. Oof. I'm gonna pop that hose off and dump some straight into the block, because that sounds pretty not convincing. And that should do it on the juices. Mine is power steering fluid. There's this crusty old bottle right here that I think I'm just gonna dump in there because the reservoir is empty and I'm not really feeling like killing this pump for no reason. I don't even know if this is right, but it's wet. That looks pretty right. And I checked the oil, there is some ATF in it. So yeah, let's see if it'll fire. Now I don't know if my sophisticated switching mechanism was burnt up right out of the gate, but I am not getting anything to the glow plugs. That's a problem. I'm gonna forego the whole switch and just run these straight to the battery. Light them up real nice and good. Come on. All right. I guess there absolutely is a way. I have 6 bad glow plugs, so bark down that tree next. Ooh, that doesn't stand to help. The bus bar appears to be shorted to the water neck. Huh. I noticed a little bit of white smoke coming off the exhaust here. I don't know why it would be coming up this end unless maybe I have a exhaust obstruction, so I'm going to bark up that tree next. I dug the spare out of the trunk so I can put it back on the ground. Might have to raid the wagon there for another spare. I'm not quite sure where this muffler went, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Very crusty. Now, since I'm forever alone, I'm just going to stuff a wad of paper towels in that hole there and see if it blows it out when I crank it. Very scientific. Keep an eye on that for me, would you? That isn't great. So obviously this exhaust is scrap, so I'm just going to poke a couple holes in it here before the muffler. So I'm to assume if there is an obstruction, it's going to be in the muffler. Alright. Still nothing, but it's entirely possible that I'm just an idiot. I'm gonna put a couple more gallons of fresh diesel in the tank. I'm gonna pop the filter off, empty it, fill it with some fresh diesel, and suck on the pump a little more to try to get some fresh fuel up in there. I didn't try very hard, but it's not coming off, so violence. I don't feel like going under the car again. There's a hammer. I don't think I've ever smelled diesel this stale. This is the smell Leonard Skinner was talking about. Now at least they're like $4, so I have an extra one. I'm gonna fill that up and make sure there's no O-ring stuck on the pedestal. It appears to be siphoning what is left in the pump, so I think I'm gonna let that go for a while. Same rules as an oil filter. Make sure your O-ring's nice and wet. I have very few 5x108 wheels, but I think there's a spare in here. Come on, struts. There is a spare. I don't know if it'll fit. Well, we will find out. Ooh. So that still smells like what come a bubbling up from the ground one day when Jed Clampett was shooting at some food. So I'm going to do that a few more times till this smells a little fresher and then try again. Alright, I think this will be my last attempt before I give up on whatever's in the tank and just do a extra fuel cell here. I feel like I lost my glow plugs again. I did replace this switch, but I feel like it might have just burnt up. Well, all I have is a gasoline tank. I don't want to use the kosher dill fuel cell because that would only get me about a mile of range. Keep in mind it's Sunday, so we're day drinking. Standards are low. Just gonna snip these lines off of the filter here and run them into there. So the injector lines are cracked. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe that fresh juice was all she needed. We'll tighten those guys back down, see what we get. Alright. For realsies now. Let's see what we got. Tripod. It's a bit of a high idle, but I ain't gonna be questioning anything. Oh yeah, ignition is still off, so we get the ding donger. Turn that on. Foot on the brake. Oh, we even appear to have some brakes. All right, let's see if we got any gears. Oh. I'm gonna have to check that fluid again, but we appear to have a forward. I may be a bit of a dill weed. The parking brake was set, so I have turned that off. We'll see if she drives. See if I can hokey poke a camera mount. Headrest, maybe? That'll have to be good enough. Alright. Now the power windows work, of course. Oh, hey, we got some life out of that one. All right. So the go pedal works very well. The stop pedal, not so much. I'm not sure what gears I have, but I'm certain it's not all of them. Alright, so the throttle response is right now. Don't get me wrong. This engine wants to go. This transmission does not. I think I have first and second, and that's it. My ice cube meter gauge seems to work even. Horn doesn't. That's tragic. We got wipeolators. Let's go. We appear to be holding temperature pretty steady. Why did you buy a Chevy Cruze? I feel bad for you, my dude. Yeah, this trans ain't having it. At least we got brakes, though. I'm thankful for that. See if she'll do a skid. She indeed will. I see the exhaust leak now. That's good. Alright, what? Pretty sure the brake's dragging. Well, let's go find out what all that smoke is about. Alright, well, according to the old stickulator here, she's just dry. So let's pop some fluid into that transmission and see if she'll go any better. Now, just for curiosity's sake, I'm gonna start her up and see if it's charging. I suspect it is, given it's a Bosch alternator. I might turn the key on. Yeah, the key wasn't on. I heard it bogged down, so I'm gonna guess it's charging. Oh yeah, 13.9. Let's go. Now, as far as the ATF problem goes, I don't think I'm gonna drive this into town to get some of that juice, but this is the GTI's battery I'm using, so I'll plop it back in there and go to town. The knob fell off. That was the missed shift. Alright, I done put some red sauce in the trans there. We'll light her up and take her for another cruise, see how she's feeling. The plugs. Just a peach. Can't forget key on social charge. You'll hear the alternator load up. There it is. Oh, indication. Nothing there, nothing there. That appears to be working. We do have a tack, and the speedo even seems to work. So let's clip this to the headrest. We'll go for a little drive. The brakes don't seem to boost much at all, but they are present. Oh, much happier with the red sauce in there. Power steering even works. Get after it now. Ooh, gotta stamp my foot down. There's, I think that's drive. That's one of the forward gears. There's second, third, bit of a racket. It doesn't sound like bottom end. We'll keep going. There's third. Haven't heard her go into fourth yet. It's a little nerve-wracking. Oh, heck, we even got turn signals. Don't stop me now. We're having such a good time. Oh, God. That's so many rhythms for the D24. Something is dreadfully wrong with the suspension. It almost feels like one of these wheels is seized up. Because it's like the body roll pivots around the right side of the car. Take the scenic route here. I just got myself stuck in the ditch. That's good. Let's make it look pretty. Oh, that's an interesting color. We'll get some electrical tape on there. And there we go. Consider this brick bodged good enough. We'll take her for one more spin, then I think we'll be done here. Well, I guess that'll do it. To answer the question from the title of the video, yes, the old Gerbo diesel will run and drive quite well, as a matter of fact. I guess I'll get to this interior at a later date. As you may have seen when I was changing that starter, this thing is very rusty. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but now that it runs and drives, I think I'll send some documents off to the state of Vermont to see if I can get a title for this thing. Anyways, if you have enjoyed this video in any way, please do like and subscribe. Please support the channel, as I'd like to get it going. Anyways, this has been Baked Beans Garage. I am Chinchilla. I will see you next time.